Hello and welcome back to the Second Chance Live channel here on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to watch this video presentation. Thank you. In today's video presentation, I'm going to be sharing an article that I wrote several days ago. In this article, I'm going to be talking about what I consider to be important awareness, acceptance, and action. As we grow in awareness, we're able to come to a place of acceptance, and that acceptance allows us or gives us the power to get into action. So to read the article, I'll put my glasses on and bring up the article. I want to thank you for your time. You're an important part of my process, and I always enjoy our times together. Here's the article. Living with a brain injury, it's all up in your head, lest I be lulled back into denial. Hello and welcome back to Second Chance Live, my friend. I'm happy to have you around my table. The reason why I'm writing this article is to share what I discovered through my own process and journey of being told it's all up in your head. If you just, then you would not be impacted by your brain injury. If you have heard this phrase or something similar, I believe you will benefit from reading and listening, watching this particular video presentation. Excuse me. Several years ago, I wrote an article, Living with an Invisible Disability, Accepting Ourselves When Other People Can't. In this article, I shared how I became aware of the impact that denial was having upon my life and well-being. In my experience, I stayed in denial for many years because I internalized what was denied and defended surrounding the impact of the traumatic brain injury that I experienced when I was 10 years old. As I shared in yesterday's article, once my external wounds healed, the impact of the traumatic brain injury that I experienced when I was 10 years old was no longer considered relevant. Because I bought into the denial system by my actions, I engaged in validating and defending the denial system that kept me striving in my attempt to overcompensate for what was not seen or understood. As a result, I found myself engaging in a cycle of justifying, answering, defending, and explaining why I could not do more to be more than what was being denied and what was expected of me. This ongoing cycle left me in a lose-lose relationship with denial, myself, and other people. The lose-lose relationship with myself, denial, and other people that held me captive to a system that promised me freedom but kept me deceived. Again, the lose-lose relationship with denial, myself, and others that held me captive to a system that promised me freedom but kept me deceived. Let me explain. As time continued, I remember my dad telling me, it's just up in your head, and if you just, then you would not be affected by any brain injury. So for many years I strove to get over what was up in my head so that I would not be blamed and criticized for the difficulties that I encountered because of what needed to be denied so that changes did not have to take place in the family. For more insight, click on my article, and in the article here on Second Chance to Live, I have a link to the article, Traumatic Brain Injury and the Identified Patient. Because I bought into this message that it was my fault for not getting it right, I strove all the more to overcompensate for what was all up in my head. Because I had no idea how to get over it, I continued in my attempts to not be impacted by what was up in my head. This continued until after being employed by the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation as a rehab counselor in Florida. I was made a client because of the difficulties that I encountered on the job. After becoming a client, I underwent another EEG, which confirmed the impact of the open skull fracture that I experienced when I was 10 years old. I also underwent a neuropsych evaluation. The results of this evaluation revealed how the injury to my brain impacted the difficulties that I encountered throughout my lifetime. Upon sharing the results of the EEG and the neuropsych evaluation with my dad told me that the neuropsychologist who did the neuropsych evaluation did not know what he was talking about, that in essence his findings were wrong. Other family members tended to side with my dad, which led me to continue to believe that the difficulties that I encountered were just up in my head, and if I just, then I could get over it. Although I completed the rehab process in Florida, there was no job placement. For the next 5 years, I continued to buy into the notion that it was all up in my head and that if I just, then I would get over it. The proverbial straw that broke the camel's back resulted from a series of events that occurred after being recruited to begin a job in North Carolina as a certified rehabilitation counselor. These are the events that led to my no longer being able to deny my reality. I was fired from that job 4 months later, had an unsuccessful job search, applied to the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation here in North Carolina, went through that process, was told at the end of the evaluation process that I was unemployable, submitting my third application to the Social Security Administration for SSDI benefits, being approved by the Social Security Administration to begin receiving SSDI, and then finding myself on a fixed income. Although I had a long history of not being able to work, the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation deeming me to be unemployable, the Social Security Administration determining that I was disabled, and finding myself on a fixed income, I still found myself struggling with the notion that maybe it was all up in my head and that if I just, then I would not be affected by a brain injury. But then I remembered the emotional and spiritual pain that I experienced over the course of 38 years. For more information, or more detailed information about my particular struggle over the last 38 years prior to my beginning to receive SSDI by being deemed disabled by the Social Security Administration, I have a link, and it's to my detailed about page, which is in this article as you come to it. I will present a link in the comment section or in the discussion section on YouTube. So if you'd like to come to read the article, you can go to my about section there on YouTube, and there will be a link for you to copy paste in your browser and then click on, and I'll bring you to this article. With the emotional and spiritual pain, I finally admitted to myself that I was indeed powerless over what was in my head. With my emotional and spiritual bottom, I realized that I could no longer validate and defend the denial system that held me hostage for many years. I realized that I needed to guard myself lest I be lulled back into the denial system that kept me in a lose-lose relationship with myself and other people. I realized that I could no longer attempt to fit into the mold that denial set for me. I realized that I needed to break free from that mold. I realized that I could create my own mold. I realized that I could learn how to excel beyond the limitations set forth in the "it's just up in your head, and if you just, then you would be able to overcome your brain injury. Here are several quotes that I enjoy and inspire me. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something that I can do. That's by Helen Keller. And this is a quote that I created. I realized that I needed to guard myself lest I be lulled back into denial. That's by Craig J. Phillips, MRCBA, myself. In August of 2007, I wrote a two-part article to share what I discovered that keeps me lest I be lulled back into denial. And there are links to both the article, the two-part article, and links to the two-part video presentation. And the title is Having an Invisible Disability, the Consequences of Denying My Reality. This is the end of the presentation. Again, I want to thank you for your time. Before I go, let me encourage you with this. Please do not give up on yourself, a loving God, or your process, because more will be revealed to us in time. The pieces of the puzzle will come together in the correct order and at the right time. I'll say so long for now. Have a great day, and God bless. So long now.